Hi, are you an author in the middle of self-publishing your next book? Somewhere along the process, you've probably heard about creating an audiobook. You've been encouraged to make an audiobook. You know friends who've made the investment in creating an audiobook, but you can't bring yourself to get started because getting into the technical weeds just seems too daunting. But what if we could take that all away? What if we could remove 90% of the technical barriers, so all you would have to do is show up to the microphone and record? Or maybe you don't want to record your own audiobook. That's totally fine too. We have an experienced team of professional narrators that would love to audition for your audiobook. Our Done For You service guarantees that you will have a professionally produced audiobook ready for commercial release. If you're ready to get started today, please click the link below and schedule a free call. We can't wait to hear from you and to get started on your project.
Hello and good afternoon. Happy Sunday to everybody out there. We have another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement podcast. I'd like to thank everybody once again for sharing their Sunday with us. We do have a special guest author who can be on with us today. But before we get into that, Susan, how's your Sunday going so far?
Hi, it's been weird, but good.
Weird's always different. Want to go
Yeah,
into
some
that a
days
little
are
bit?
like that. Well, I woke up not really remembering what day it was, and then about 3 hours later, I finally figured it out. No, it wasn't that bad. Not that bad, but I have had fun today. I had a chance to have a nice long chat with one of our newer authors, and we talked about her
Nice.
book and talked about ways that she can work on things she could do to improve it and things that I think she did really well. And so she's still working it. It's going to be done soon, and I really look
Very
forward
nice.
to publishing it. You want to hear the name of it?
Nice. Oh, cool. Absolutely.
One in Vermilion May Live.
One in Vermilion May Live. That
Intriguing
sounds
title,
like
right?
a that
Yeah.
sounds like a fantasy novel.
Yeah, it is sci-fi for sure.
Nice. Well, that's going to be different for us.
Yeah,
It's
it
going to
is a
be
little bit different. Uh-huh.
I love it. I can't wait to read it. It's going to be fun and gonna have to do some promotion out there. We also going to have some promotion coming up here with some tutorial videos and things that we're going to be putting out there for everybody who wants to be an author. And if you do want to be an author, be sure to check us out on our website at soulsunshine.com. We also sponsor this podcast. So want to thank everybody once again for watching and tuning in with us. We have a special guest today, very special guest. Now, her pen name is L.A. Buck, but we know her as Laura. So without further ado, let's bring Laura to the stage.
Hi, Laura.
Hi,
Laura,
Susan. Hi, Stephen. How are you?
Good, good.
doing well. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for coming on and spending your Sunday with us. You are an author of the book 21 Reasons for Trusting in God, Finding Inner Peace in His Existence.
That is correct. So, yeah, I published it just about 6 months ago now.
Mhm.
6 months ago. Very nice. So it's all new. How's I always like to ask her, was this your first book?
Yes, it is. Yes. So, very excited and working on a second book to kind of like go kind of mirror that book as far as like a discussion guide so that people can use it in order to help learn more about God, use it maybe for a study group, use it for religious ed classes, whatever is needed. So it's kind of help to expand thoughts while they're
Mhm.
going through the book.
That sounds
Very nice.
great.
I always like to ask first-time authors the very first time that they hold their book in their hand. Describe that feeling for me.
You just kind of look at it and go, okay, yeah, that looks great. You're just like, this is mine. I did that. So yeah, it's exciting. It's definitely exciting to write a book and have it come to your house or wherever and go, yeah, I just did that.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you make a video of the first time holding it at all?
No, no, I'm really bad at like taking pictures of things or making videos. I always depend on somebody else to do that for me.
We're gonna have to give you some pointers for your next book.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
those those little videos of just this is my book. I did it. I'm the
Right.
Yeah.
person that did this. I'm excited. Those go a long way. So
I took a
for
picture
their next
afterwards,
book.
me holding the book, like going, here's my book.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I didn't
Very
even do that for my first book. I didn't take a picture of myself unboxing it or anything. And then I realized by the time I had my second book that I better do that. So I handed my phone to my husband and said, "Here, take a picture of this and record it and make it video."
There
So
you
I
go.
do have video of that.
I did learn one lesson with my book is that if it reaches on Amazon, like gets any, like I got number one new release, and I never took a picture of that either. So
Yeah, yeah,
Memphis.
that I did when I hit number one and then I hit number one in five different categories. I was so excited that I had to, snip that out and save it. So I've got that. You can always go back and remember the good old days.
Yeah, good job.
So 21 reasons for trusting in God, finding inner peace with his peace in his existence.
Yes.
What inspired you to write this book?
Well, it was actually my son. So my son was a freshman in high school, very scientific, working with robotics as well. And apparently, a number of his classmates did not believe. And so he kind of, school doesn't really teach, especially public school, they don't teach about God. Um, he was just like really came to me and just said one day, "I don't believe, Mom." And he was really scared to tell me because he knew how much I believed. And so we had a long talk about it. We talked about, the reasons and what he was looking for, and he was very open to the idea of me trying to find something because he wanted solid proof. He wanted proof. And so that's when I started my research trying to figure out, physical things, that he could like say, okay, there was a manuscript, there was, these artifacts, there was whatever that would prove to him that God was real. And so, um, I started there, and then a few years later, I started my book.
So what
For
does
your
he
son,
think? Yeah, what
Say
does he
again?
think about the book?
He loves it. I mean, he really thinks
Mhm.
he's really proud of his mom, I guess, for writing
Uh-huh.
it. He's
Yeah.
one of those kids that loves talking about whatever it is. He's very open to talking about everything and very worldly, I guess is a good word for him.
Uh-huh.
So he loves the conversations about God and the realities and things that happen in the Bible. He loves talking about it now.
Oh, that's great.
does he
Yeah.
does he still do the scientific approach to everything where he wants the tangible evidence and he wants the proof showing?
Yeah, Stephen, he's kind of he wants proof for everything, but he knows that for God, he doesn't need that proof anymore. He believes. He had a book, I got him a book, I was probably like that thick, that was all about the scientific reasons to believe. He said he read the first chapter and he goes, "Okay, if they can write a whole book like this on scientific reasons to believe in God, I'm done. I don't need to read the rest of it."
It's
How
really
how
good.
old is your son?
Well, he was probably about 16, 15 or 16 then. He's now 22.
Mhm.
15 to 16-year-old reading books. I love that and very highly encourage all our parents out there to give books to your kids. It brings so much more knowledge on things and just makes for better understanding on things. So
Absolutely.
in your book, You talk about trusting God. How do you define and practice trust in your life?
It's a big question. It is a big question. When a very young age, I trusted in God. You kind of get taken to church and you're doing, different things, reading the Bible, etc. And you're like, okay, I believe in this 100% trust, and you trust with your parents, right? When it came to now trusting in God as an adult, um, it was a little different because I always thought, I'm a believer, I'm good. But as I got to the point where life was really challenging to me, I found myself distancing myself from God. And so I really had to kind of really refocus in on what God meant to me in my life, especially during COVID. COVID was a really hard time. So I had to kind of refocus in and start praying more and just saying, God, you have control of my life. You have control over this book that I'm trying to write. I need you in my life. I need that relationship with you in order for me to feel, like we're there together, working together, and whatever you want from me, because this world is not about us. It's about getting to heaven and about, being with God. So I 100% now trust in him. He's who it's about him and, letting go, letting God, that type of thing.
It's good. It's good. I think we all need to have struggles with our faith in order to become closer to God. We all need to question that because blind faith and blind belief without having it affecting us, we're all on our own journey. We're all affected in different ways by different things. So what may work for you may not work for me, and then same and vice versa. So we have to have those challenges. We have to have those moments where we actually come to conscientiously saying, this is what I believe, or this is what I see, or this is what I manifest, or however you want to call it. We all need to have those moments.
Yeah, I think God sometimes puts us at a low, not purposely, but we get to that low level, and that's when we find God. That's when we go, okay, I have no other resources, nowhere else to go. I now have to go back and say, God, help me. And that's when he does. I think that's when he's like, he knows that we're vulnerable then, and he knows that he can pull us back out of that vulnerability and show that he's there for us. So
Absolutely. Absolutely agreed. And it can go either way in that instance. You can go further from away or closer towards. And
true.
we all have those challenges that we do. Just out of curiosity, though, tell us more about your background. You said you grew up in the church and things like that. You never questioned, but tell us more about your background on things.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, growing up in church, I didn't question things. I just thought, okay, God's there with me, no big deal.
Mm.
But probably like most teenagers, college kids, I started, not going to church anymore. It wasn't that I never felt like I didn't believe, because I always did believe. I just, kind of pulled back. So luckily, when I got adult and got married, I decided, okay, need to get back into church. I'm going to have kids. I need to get back into church and do the right thing. And I spent a lot of time, doing the right thing, vacation Bible school and religious ed stuff and just helping out wherever I could at church. Um, but, I just never felt that closeness to God as when I was young. So it made a big difference when challenges started happening in my life. My husband fell off the roof and he really damaged his leg. And when he was healing, I said, you know what? I really feel like God's telling us, there's more coming. This is just kind of like him giving us that preview. And there was a lot more coming our way. And it showed me that there's more strength in me than what I knew, and that I needed to, kind of redirect my thoughts and feelings so that I was, again, closer to God. But I went through that period back and forth, for a long time. COVID was bad. COVID was bad because you didn't get to go to church. So it kind of got you lazy, I think. Got me lazy, let's put it that way.
Did you seek online church during COVID at all?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Did you seek online churches during COVID at all?
Yes. Yeah. So our church had online, did
Mhm.
online church, but after a while, I don't know. You just kind of go, okay, well, that's good. There's things at the house that need to be done. And you're sitting there going, okay, I'm at the house. That's good. I can just do this. Yeah, you just kind of, I felt for myself, I got disconnected. I got a little too disconnected because,
Mhm.
that interaction, that community is so important in our lives
Yeah.
in order to have other people that like thinkers, but also that you can bounce things off of and talk to
Mhm.
and just feel like, hey, you're with those same people that believe and worship with you. And it's just so important.
Yeah. And I think the
Absolutely agree.
pastor probably has a problem with preaching to an empty church. It's probably not as inspiring. Who they're
Sure.
okay, they're recording it, but where's the audience? It's hard a lot of times, very hard. I know our pastor had mentioned that during COVID, it was hard. They did the online service, but he needs that interaction too, just like we do.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is part of the whole faith aspect of it. Because, I mean, you can have faith for yourself, but when you can share it, it just grows so much more when you have people surrounding you, people who believe in the same things, people who um, really understand what you're going through, what you're feeling, things like that. Becomes more than just, oh, I believe in God. It becomes that whole belief uh, structure into it.
Right. It just makes it stronger. It makes it so much stronger because just doing it on your own just doesn't make sense because then you can just make up things in your head. You can kind of get distracted, just like I was.
Yeah, yeah, that I feel, I don't get out much at all. And my church or my community is really uh, online and online in that I have, a wonderful group of 10 people who work with me on Soul Sunshine and who are my teammates, and I love them dearly. And we, support each other every day, encourage each other. It's really a wonderful feeling. I don't need to go to church to have that. Church is great, but I don't need to go to church. I can have that every day. And that's what I think, the early apostles must have experienced. They were together, they were there with Jesus, and that must have been wonderful just hanging out with Jesus every day, listening to him, walking with him, watching him do miracles. It must have just been amazing. So,
Absolutely. I can't
yeah,
imagine having been there. Just, and once they knew this was Jesus, this, the Son of God, he came to us.
yeah,
I would change how I acted too. I'd probably be
yeah,
like, okay,
right,
I'm sorry.
right. Well, like Peter, didn't want Jesus to wash his feet, because that was just too far for him to let Jesus wash his feet. He says, "No, I should be washing your feet." So, yeah, it's really interesting. You know, uh, there's a book that was written by someone named Frank Turek several years ago, I think 20 years ago. And the name of the book was I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. And I loved that title because it makes you stop and think.
Yeah.
You have to have faith to be an atheist. You have to have the faith that everything here in existence just happened. Nothing started it, nothing caused it, nothing tangible because it would just, it suddenly was here. but there are all kinds of like laws of physics about, matter cannot be what created or destroyed. Energy is, there's a finite amount of energy, and I mean all of those different kinds of laws that we have that if you are an atheist, they don't fit in at all with an atheist
Yeah.
belief. So you have to have faith.
Those are all in my book, by the way. DNA, the different theories and
Yeah,
laws, and
right.
yeah. But my book's
Nice.
all. It's kind of like a summary, if you want to say. I'm hitting
Uh-huh.
on everything that would somebody that a teenager, a young adult would go, well,
Hmm.
why should I believe? And they don't have a lot of structure or background, maybe. And so they can
Yeah.
take the book and start reading it, and there's 21 different reasons. And those
Uh-huh.
reasons will help to just get them started, I guess,
Yeah.
kind of go, boom, here's these reasons. And then I have a lot of extra information and
Mhm.
resources so that they can then
Uh-huh.
go further. And then that's why the
Yeah.
discussion guide, I have the discussion guide
Uh-huh.
coming as well to try to help back that up and help them get started
Yeah.
with
I
further
think that's a
discussion.
great idea. Yeah, it really, really is a good idea because there is so much, there is so much material out there. Um, because we had published a book that was somewhat similar to yours. And I had to do some research on that topic. What kind of proof is there out there that Jesus is real, that God is real, that everything in the Bible is true, all of those kinds of things. And there is a lot of material out there. There are a lot
Sure.
of great YouTube videos. And so I think it sounds like your book is going to be great for people who want to know more. They can research it and find
Right.
that go even beyond what you present.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it.
So 21 reasons. 21. That's a pretty finite number there. Did you have any challenges while writing your book?
I think as a brand new author, there's a lot of challenges because you really don't know what you're getting yourself into. I mean, you may have this picture of what you want the book to say and what you want it to be used for, but then to know, like, okay, you need editing, you need a book cover, where are your resources to get all that kind of stuff. So just those type of challenges were there right from the beginning. But to be honest with you, my biggest challenge was I felt like I was being tested. I felt like the whole time I was trying to write the book, because I thought it was a God led book. I thought God was, leading me to write this book. Um, and I felt like there were certain times where I just felt like there was something fighting against me. There was something that was testing me, challenging me to do otherwise.
Mhm.
So it was really hard. It might have just been as simple as mentally, where my brain was with it, or just something that was happening, like something kept happening in the house, or things were
Uh-huh.
kind of coming at me, and I just that was the biggest part for me, just because I think it really was meant to be, and I just kept on praying and fighting through it, and
Mhm.
got to the end. I felt like when I got to the end, I'm like, see,
Yeah,
you couldn't, you
right.
couldn't change me.
Well, I'm really glad that you were
Right.
able to fight through that.
Yeah, and I feel like a
Well,
lot of
that
people probably have that challenge,
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
when and Satan knows that we're doing something to better the world and to bring God
Hmm.
forwards. I
Yeah.
really think that's he's gonna
Yeah.
he's gonna challenge you more. Then there's gonna be more tests then.
That's right. The Bible says in this world you'll have trouble, but
Oh,
but
yeah,
but God has overcome the world, so he's overcome.
I do think that
He's fought this battle.
for sure.
I do think that is incredibly important to get out there for people who are thinking about writing a book. Is it's not easy. There are a lot of challenges that comes to writing a book. There's a lot of nuances. And while you're going through it, there's going to be those moments where you're going to doubt yourself, where you're going to question everything that you're writing. and you're going to constantly tell yourself, is this any good? Is this any good? I mean, is this worth writing about? And those struggles, getting through them sometimes are the hardest part. But once you're actually through them and you have that tangible book in your hand, there's an amazing, amazing experience for anybody out there listening who wants to become an author. But speaking
Definitely.
of lessons, what has been your greatest lesson in life?
Probably that I want to control things too much and it's not in my hands.
Wow, another one, just like me.
You know, I think the world itself, especially more so nowadays than before, is, you get to have whatever you want. You get to, this is for your taking and everything's there and you're you're special in some way, shape, or form. And I think, we get too caught up in that. So maybe the lesson is, don't get caught up in things in this world. Don't look for whatever it is, the money, the trips, the whatever. If you're not with God during this whole thing and God's not leading you, then, it's a finite term that we're here on earth and what
Mhm.
happens afterwards, and I think people
Yeah.
just got to realize that our actions will define us when we meet God and go, hey, so who
Yeah.
are you and why should you come to heaven? He might be going, yeah, let's talk about
Uh-huh.
this.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And do you
Yeah, I
think that
like that you
uh, uh,
go ahead,
go
Susan.
ahead. Do you think that fewer people believe in God now than say when you and I were younger?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, I
Hmm.
think it's been proven already, but yes.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's the influence. It's that immediate, reaction, immediate, feel good that everybody wants now. And they don't, there's too much peer pressure. There's too many people, just like my son, that are just saying, well, no, why? We got all this other stuff, scientific, whatever. We don't need that. And if you've never had a relationship with God and never felt that connection with God, you are missing out. And,
Hmm.
it's just, I know at first you have to believe. You have to believe first. And that's kind of where my book starts. I want people to
Hmm.
believe. And once you believe, then you go, okay, where do I go from here? And
Hmm.
hint, hint, that's another book I'm looking at. But, where do you go from there? And how do you walk with God? How do you, continue that relationship with God? And I think that's where churches play a big role as well. And then being with people that are like minded as well. But there's so many things in the Bible that, God's teaching us, Jesus is teaching us how to do that the whole time. So,
Hmm. Yeah.
I think that a lot of people got turned off because they equate God with religion. And when you
I agree.
equate God with religion, and all of a sudden you see religious people acting in a way that you don't agree with, then your mind automatically goes into a perception of there must be no God, because if these people believe in God and I don't believe what they believe in, then I don't believe in God.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of people have come to that conclusion.
But I think there's a innate problem with that is that they're looking at a person, a human being that is a
Hmm.
human, just like they are, and they do things wrong. And we can't see God in that light, Yes, human beings, churches are people, with people running them. They do a lot of things wrong. And none of us are perfect. That's why Jesus came to save us from our sins. So to judge whether or not there's a God or not based on how somebody else acts that does believe. Yeah,
Hmm.
I want to be the shining light for God. I want to I'd be out there and be in the world. That doesn't mean I don't do plenty of things wrong or never have done anything wrong. So
Hmm.
you just can't judge God based on a human being, I guess.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's So true.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said just a few minutes ago, we're on our own spiritual journey to find God. It's not going to be the same path. It's not going to be um, all shiny roses and everything is happy and, like you said, everything is perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to fumble along the way. We're going to question
Mm-hmm.
everything we ever had. For the longest time, I actually was an atheist. I'll be honest with you in that I did not believe. And I came to a lot of that from studying religion. And when I came to study religion and realize that a lot of the stories are the same, a lot of through history, there was bad things done by religious organizations. It just led me down a path of I just don't want to believe in anything that these people believe in, and I'm just going to call myself an atheist. Surprisingly enough, that actually is what brought me back to is that Susan showed me love. She showed me guidance. She showed me patience. She showed me no judgmental aspects of anything. And we just talked. And that love and that showing that we are the same, no matter what your background is, we all are the same. And that's where we find our beliefs. That's where we find our journey. That's where we find our strengths and similarities rather than our differences.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not perfect either, am I, Stephen?
No,
So,
neither one
yeah,
of us are.
yeah, that's the
Show me
thing,
one that is, and then I'm going
honesty.
to say
Yeah,
Jesus has returned.
yeah, right. Yeah, but I think it's important for Christians to be transparent and not hide behind what it is they think that they're supposed to do and supposed to act like. They don't. I learned this. It took me a long time to learn it, to not worry about what other people think of me. I was always worried about what other people thought. And that was a huge issue for me for a long time. And it really guided the way I behaved a lot of times, which was not transparent. It was, completely trying to fool people into thinking that I'm a wonderful person. And that's different, to try to fool people into thinking that and to actually want to be that way and to treat people that way, to treat people with love rather than trying to fool them into thinking that you are loving. So I don't know if that made any sense, but
Oh,
it
absolutely.
it did to me.
Yeah, I mean, and I think a lot of your young kids, teenagers, they're all trying to figure out their way in the world. And as you're figuring out your way in the world, you're going to be thinking that you're going to be thinking, well, am I doing the right thing? Does my hair look good? Does
Yeah,
how much makeup should I
right.
put on? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, but and I think it's a growing process for us as adults.
Hmm.
And some of us go through that quicker than others, but to realize that just I don't know, this sounds really cliche, but be yourself. But your actions are what, really will speak to other people and speak towards your faith and your belief systems. And that's really
Right.
important.
Yeah, that's right.
And speak truth.
Mhm.
One thing that I've learned so much in this journey in the past few years is that you got to be honest with yourself. I know we all have our pride and we all have our ego and we all have our moments where we want to look better than what we actually are for attention or for whatever reasons. But when you can actually sit down and find, I'm struggling right now, or I don't like this, or I'm upset about that, or things that are actually, way you're feeling on emotions, if you can acknowledge those and be truthful with yourself and be truthful with other people, then you start to find a little bit more growth and a little bit more belief and a little bit more faith towards God, towards everything, even just being there.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's sometimes just looking inside of ourselves and realizing, that what do you want in the end? Where do you think your journey is taking you? And, how are you going to get there? And in fact, I just told a friend the other day, she was talking about some different personal things. And I said, you know what? The only thing I care about right now is getting to heaven. All this other stuff that you're talking about right now, no, all I care about is getting to heaven. So that's my journey right now.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
It's a good goal.
Hopefully most people have it, but I'd rather not go to the other place.
Yeah.
I I don't know if it's cultural or if it's human, but we do put a lot of um, things on items. Like we like to buy stuff. We like to surround our stuff in things that we have to buy rather than things that we're actually helping us spiritually. They're helping us feel good about ourselves in the present moment. And I like what you said earlier about how people are only interested in what makes them feel good at this moment, not about what happens from this action that's going to cause me to have something in the future that's going to be bad. It's, I feel good right now. I have my instant gratification and I can move on to my next instant gratification. And they lose that along the ways of finding that where we're all together, that what do we call it earlier, community,
Mm-hmm.
because community is not going to be built on people who want instant gratification every 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. Yeah, I agree with you, Stephen. It's
Yeah.
it's definitely a journey that we all need to go on, but we're all going to get there a different way, and we're not going to that, like you said, the material things, and I do it too, but the material things, and especially, I think, I hate to say this, but in America, or just, there's so many things in America that, we want, or we have to compare ourselves to somebody else, and we have to be that type of person and have that type of car. And
Yeah.
you've got to separate yourself from that. You've got to
Yeah.
separate yourself from that and really realize this isn't what we're here for. This isn't
Right.
what God is planning for us in the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
know, I know we're all going to know this saying, keeping up with the Joneses. I haven't
yeah.
heard that in a long time, but you said that, and keeping up with the Joneses is exactly what we experience in America, where, my neighbor has this, I want that too.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I always try to go, okay, in my head, it's like, Laura, there's plenty of people in this world that don't even have food or water or whatever.
Right.
You, you know,
Yes.
it's a thing that you just have to constantly remind yourself of, and constantly, for me, I'm constantly turning to God. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
prayed to God before we started this. I pray to God in the morning. I pray to God in the evening. And it might not all be the same thing. It may be a matter of, like, oh, I'm reading the Bible, or I'm listening to a podcast, or I'm just doing my own personal prayer. But
Yeah.
constantly touching base throughout the day, I think is really
Right.
important for
Right.
us to do.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I love that you incorporated science into a lot of your book of the 21 reasons. Looking back on your life from here to there, and keep in mind, we have a lot of kids that will watch our podcast because we do children's books. Um, so this is kind of a, what advice would you give to your younger self? But I also want this to be advice given to kids where they are right now.
Hmm. Trust your parents a little more. Trust your parents. Talk to your parents. You know, um, Tell them how you're feeling. Be open. Um, my younger self, I think you got to trust yourself too. God is in there and he's talking to us and he's there telling us, and we just have to listen. And sometimes it's really hard to listen,
Mm-hmm.
especially as a young person, teenager, young adult. It's hard to hear it and to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think, my younger self just needed to continue the original path I was on, because I knew where I was, I knew my belief. And not that I'm saying you don't stray, and everybody I think needs to stray a little bit, but question it. Continue to question it. In fact, after writing the book, I question things even more now because I just am constantly getting deeper and deeper into, the information that I know, and I want to learn more. I want to do more. I think too many young kids, they hear their peer and they just believe what their peer says, opposed to really questioning and saying, okay, got to see both sides. You have to see both sides, and you have to go, okay, is this real? Is this really what, there's too much more growth going on. You continue on that growth path, continue learning. Don't stifle yourself into one little box of where you think, life is. It's typically going to be wrong, to be honest.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think it's very healthy to question everything. Um, Blind faith can get you into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
um, it doesn't strengthen anything. It doesn't get you to believe harder just by blind faithing it. You've got to question it and change your philosophy, change your beliefs, change everything that you need to believe stronger, to believe harder, to shine even more. Because when you stay stagnant, when things don't change, then you're never going to have that moment of, I get it now. I understand what I was going through in that. Even in those times when they are the darkest, when you question the most, those are going to be the ones that are going to lead you to the path where you are going to have a lot more faith in the end.
Right. That's why
You know, and
actually people questioning. I like them questioning. And it's part of my book too. It's like keep questioning, keep asking those important questions and keep growing in it because yeah, we can't just take one person's, when you're a child, your faith is on your parents. Your belief is there, whatever they say goes. But as you get older, teenage and like there's just so many more influences. You really gotta question it. You really gotta
right.
get
That's
more
right.
information.
And the Bible tells us to be ready, be prepared to give an account for what you believe. And I think that's just like really important. Somebody asks me just off the cuff, why do you believe in God? Why do you think there's a God? Yeah, I need to be ready to answer that. That's part of my job as someone who loves God. I need to be ready with the answer, and your book is perfect for that. It's just exactly the kind of book that a lot of people would would be able to relate to a lot of the information in it and would be able to just remember it and then bring it out and say, here's why I believe what I believe, and you know uh, and then answer and bring other people along so they start thinking about it. So
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
book is, just a wonderful resource. And I hope people out there pick this up because it's a terrific resource for anybody, whether you
It's
believe or
we'll
not,
we'll be sure to put
you know?
we'll be sure to put your book. It's on. We'll talk about that in a little bit. We're not going to jump too ahead of ourselves here right
Yeah.
now. Speaking of
Yeah.
jumping ahead of ourselves, I was just about to jump too far ahead, which is only going to be about 5 minutes. But I want you to jump ahead. Where do you see yourself for the next year?
Oh, I try to take every day, just one day at a time, because it always changes, doesn't it? It always changes. I definitely want
Yeah.
my discussion book done. I definitely feel like I need to get out there to more of the outreach groups. Those that are going to be touching the people's lives that need to be touched. I want, my book is not, it's not about me. It's about furthering God's kingdom. And I need that to happen. I need to find ways in which more people can see it, not just here where I live, but throughout the whole world.
Mhm.
And so that's a big, big focus on me right now. It's like, how do I make that happen? To just touch base with different people to get my book out there, whether it be just, the neighborhood church or ministry group that goes, to whatever country. So that's where I see myself. I see myself doing those type of things in the next year.
That sounds great. Yeah, that sounds like a very worthwhile goal.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
ambitious. I love the ambition in there because you can change your immediate area. I mean, we all have that power to be able to change our immediate area. And we all want to be able to change so much more than that. And it takes just a little bit of time to be able to do that. So to hear you wanting to actually spread out and fly like that, shine, shine, Laura. That's why you wrote the book, is so you can go out and shine.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I hope, I mean, I pray that and I've said it before, if even changes one person's life, that's great,
Yeah.
but the more I can touch with it, especially in these days, the more I feel, you know, s- at peace about it, that, this book was purposeful and
I love it. I love it. So, is there anything that you wish to share with our viewers about how they can get in contact with you, find out more about your books, and get educated on upcoming releases?
absolutely. Well, definitely it's on Amazon. Okay. Obviously, books are all over Amazon. I've got it in every format, audio, hardback, ebook. So it's there to find. And I also have a website, and that's labuckley.com. You can find me on Facebook. I have a group on Facebook. Same thing, LA Buckley. So just, come find me, come find the book. So I'm happy to help anybody. DM me, it's fine too. So I've had people that that ask me certain questions, and I answer them the best of my knowledge, and then I direct them towards their local church.
Yeah.
So, L.A. Buckley is a pen name.
Yes, it's
Why
my
L.A.?
initials.
Because
It's
most
my
people are
initials.
going to. Oh, okay.
It's my initials, and
Uh,
I don't know. It just came to me that that's what I was going to do when I did it.
I wanted so much more than that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's funny.
Love and adoration.
There you go. There you go.
Yes, that's really good. Well, when I see your name, Buckley, I keep thinking Buckley Air National Guard.
Yeah,
Uh,
I get that too.
you get that,
But, but
Stephen,
There's
also?
yeah, I
Colorado?
sports
did.
people. It's usually sports. Somebody knows somebody in sports that are Buckley. So yeah.
Yeah. My
Well,
husband
then
was in the
LA, I was
air.
thinking like
Yeah. Los Angeles?
Los Angeles. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Los Angeles Buckley.
I was like, Los
Yeah.
Angeles, Buckley, do you
Nice.
hail from California or
No, no, from state of
that's where I was.
Indiana.
Indiana. Yay, yay, Indiana.
Yeah. Oh.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
You're pretty
I
good.
love good laughs. Oh, so do you
Thanks.
have any plans for the rest of your Sunday?
Dinner.
That's
Dinner with my
good.
family. My son
Uh-huh.
just came home from his first year of college. Had a little delay
Nice.
getting to college, but first year of college, and he's coming home from work. My husband and him and I will all go out to eat.
And where does he go to
Nice.
college?
Purdue Polytech. So Mr.
Uh-huh.
Science wants to become a
Yeah.
robotics engineer.
Uh-huh.
So that's why he was in robotics in high school, and he's taking engineering, mechanical engineering with a emphasis on robotics right now.
Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, that
I
sounds
love
like
it.
fun, actually.
Yes. Yes. And he'll be the one going in there in these places going, okay, yes, we're scientific. Yes, we can build these things, but God is our savior. I'm just
Yes,
got
yes,
him on the right path.
right. Yeah, God's got a hold of him.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter just graduated from UNC Greeley yesterday. So that's where we were at yesterday was graduation
Oh,
party, and
congratulations.
so proud of her. She's actually the first um, of the family to graduate with a degree. So incredibly proud of
Wow,
her. Callie, shout out to you if you're watching right now. Thank you, baby. I'm so proud of you. Keep up the amazing work.
that's great. That's awesome. Hmm.
Well,
Is
before
she
we
a,
get
it says
going,
Star, Star Wars Superman fanatic like you are? Not that
no, no, unfortunately not. She enjoys Star Wars, but she does not get fanatical like I do. I am the geek of the family where I've got all the superhero stuff going, and of course, yesterday was May the 4th, so
Yeah. And I
Star
forgot
Wars
to
Day.
tell you, May
May
the
the
4th
4th be
be
with
with
you.
you.
be with you.
Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. I meant to, and I forgot. Dang it. And I knew better. I knew
There's
how
also
important
free
that
comic
was.
book day. There's also free
Oh, yeah,
comic
there
book
was.
day.
Uh-huh.
It was the Kentucky
That's
Derby,
right. Yes,
the
watched
MS,
that.
the MS Walk in Colorado. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Covering
first
it all
Saturday
Yes.
in
right
May
now.
is always one of the busiest days ever.
Hmm.
That's right.
And then, of course, I'm a Taurus, so my birthday's coming up this Friday, and Mother's Day is on Sunday. So
Oh,
big week.
Yeah, he had to
congratulations.
remind
Yeah,
me.
you're
I
he reminded
always
you that it
forget.
was Mother's Day?
No, his birthday. He has to remind me of
Oh,
his birthday. Uh,
Oh, wow. That's
yes,
great.
we do special stuff for their birthday. It's little
Okay.
sunshine. So,
Oh, nice.
um, Laura, because LA's, I'm not, it just doesn't come across as much as I want to have it be cool. Laura, I appreciate you coming on to our show today. Is there anything that you want to share with anybody out there before we get going on this Sunday?
No, I appreciate the time, Susan, Stephen. It was very nice talking to you. And yeah, just keep up the faith and keep questioning. You'll find the truth.
Amen.
yes.
Amen.
Thank you for sharing your sweet spirit with us. We really appreciate it.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
And send us over anything that you have, your website, where we can find it on Amazon. And for all our viewers out there, we'll post it on the post on the Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement Facebook page so we can reach out to you and get a hold of you and get your book.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Mhm. You're certainly
God
very
bless.
welcome. Thank you, Laura, for coming on to our show. Have yourself a wonderful Sunday evening. Go enjoy some dinner, and we
Enjoy
look
dinner.
forward to your next book.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
You're
Bye-bye.
welcome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Well, that was fun. She's an
Yeah,
awesome
she's so
woman.
sweet. What a
She
lovely
is
lady.
incredibly sweet. It's very fulfilling. I think there was a lot of words of wisdom that were on today's show that a lot of
Yeah.
our people need to hear, that they need to understand, that they need to realize that we've talked about it so much. We're all on our own journey. We're all going through our stuff, good and bad, extremes and minuscules, things that change our life on a daily basis or change our life over the course of a year. And we're all going to struggle in that time. We're going to struggle with our faith. We're going to struggle with our ego, our pride, everything in it. So hearing it from other people and knowing that it's okay to feel those feelings, that
Yeah.
is a really good concept and a really
Yeah.
good thing that needs to get out there.
We are all in the same kind of boat.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
all of us. And it
Absolutely.
just is nice though to spend time with uh, another Christian that you can just sense the Holy Spirit there, and it's a very heartwarming feeling. So I really encourage people to spend time with other Christians. Get familiar with other Christians so that you can encourage each other. I just think that, like we talked about, that community is just really important, no matter where you find
Absolutely.
it, but find it.
But what I also love is that she's using things to question. I mean, we all have those
Mhm.
questions in life. We all have those what ifs and the why
Yeah,
is and the where is and show me proof on things. And we all need that sense of, well, there it is right there. And that
uh-huh,
strengthens what we come to.
yeah.
All right. Well, hey everyone, thank you out there for tuning in with us for another episode of Shine with Curiosity and Encouragement podcast. Thank you for spending your Sunday with us. I hope you guys have some phenomenal dinner coming up and just relaxation for the start of the work week.
May the fifth be with you. No, that doesn't
No, it's
work.
Revenge of the Fifth. No, it's
That doesn't
Revenge of
work.
the
Revenge
Fifth.
of the fifth.
Yes, like
Oh
Revenge of the
well.
Sith, Star Wars, Star Wars Episode 3 was Revenge of the Sith, so it's Revenge of the Fifth.
Okay.
So happy belated Star Wars Day, everybody. Have a
Yep.
wonderful work week.
Ever dreamed of seeing your name on the cover of a book? As a book publisher, we understand the challenges of self-publishing. If you're lost in the process, wondering about illustrators, book coaches, or formatting issues, worry not. At Soul Sunshine, we're here to guide you. Let's turn your dream into reality. Contact us to get started.